Welcome back. Today we're going to build upon what we worked on yesterday and continue working with fractions. So here my problem says, Jen is making 4 pans of baked ziti. Baked ziti is a type of pasta, like mastacholi for those of you that don't know. For each pan, she needs 2/3 cup of cheese. Her measuring cup can scoop 1/3 cup of cheese. How many scoops of cheese does she need for the 4 pans? So I want you to reread this problem to yourself, start to think about the information that you're going to use and how you're going to use it to answer this question. So as I read it again, I was thinking about this problem and I was thinking about how she's making these 4 pans of baked ziti. Each pan needs 2/3 a cup of cheese. But my question isn't asking me how much cheese I need. There's additional information. I know that she can only scoop 1/3 cup of cheese at a time because that's how her measuring cups come. So I'm trying to figure out how many scoops of cheese she'll need in total. So I'm going to draw a visual to help me picture this problem and to really help me have a concrete example. So here I drew 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those blue numbers represent the pans of baked ziti that she's making. And then below each of the numbers, you'll see a fraction strip with 3 parts, right? It's broken into thirds, and 2 of those thirds are shaded in. That represents the 2/3 cup of cheese she needs for each of those pans. So you'll see I have here what she needs for pan 1, pan 2, pan 3, and pan 4, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm thinking about how can I figure this out? How many times she has to scoop? I'm going to look at pan 1 to start, right? I know that for the first pan of baked ziti, she's going to have 2 times 1/3, right? What I did was I took the whole number 2 and I'm multiplying it by a unit fraction. The reason I did that is because I see 2 parts shaded in, 1, 2, the purple dots on them now, and I know that those are each 1/3. So 2 times 1/3 for pan number 1. Well, now if I look at pan number 1 and pan number 2, I'm going to just keep going with this pattern. I know that she would need 4 scoops of 1/3, right? Because you'll see that I have 4 parts that are each 1/3. So I'm going to put the dot there because I counted those already for pan 2. Now I'm going to move on to pan 3. And I know that my total here, now I have 6 1/3 parts. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 1/3, right? And now to include my 4th pan, because that's how many she's making, I see 8 parts, 8 shaded 1/3. So I would do 8 times 1/3, right? Because there's 8 parts. Well, what is 8 times 1/3? I know that 8 times 1/3 would be 8 thirds, right? Which means 8 1/3 would give me 8 scoops. So I'm going to write that over here. So let's see if that makes sense. Oh, I can't write a P for some reason. Okay, we're going to get creative and pretend that we can see that P there. There we go. So I know that she's going to need 8 scoops. Let's check this over and make sure it's reasonable. Well, in pan 1, this is 1/3 and another third. So that's 2 scoops. In pan 2, 1/3, another third. That's 4 scoops total so far. Pan 3, 5, 6, and pan 4 is 7, 8. So in total, she should be doing 8 scoops of cheese to make her 4 pans of baked ziti. You'll see here at the bottom, what I did was I multiplied 8 because there's 8 shaded in parts, the whole number 8, times my unit fraction of 1/3 to get my answer of 8 thirds. Now 8 thirds tells me how much total cheese she's going to use for the 4 pans, right? But my question was asking how many scoops of a 1/3 cup would that be? And I know that 8 thirds is the same as 8 scoops of 1/3. So similar to the last problem we just solved about the baked ziti, we're going to look at 5 times 3/8, and we're going to try to write that as a product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So very similar to what we just did. So I'm going to think of 3/8 as the unit fraction of 1/8 times the whole number 3, right? Because within 3/8, there's 3 1/8 parts. So here I have typed out, we have 3/8 equals 3 times 1/8 because my whole number is 3. My unit fraction I know is 1 part of the whole, which is 8 parts, so 1/8. So 3 times 1/8. But that's just representing 3/8, just as I typed here. But to figure out what 5 times 3/8 is, I need to think about 5 as a factor times 3 times 1/8. So I'm going to type that out. Sounds a little bit trickier than it is, right? So 5 times 3 times 1/8. I'm going to look at my whole numbers of 5 and 3 and multiply those together. Well, 5 times 3 is 15. So now I'm doing 15 times 1/8. My whole number is 15. My unit fraction is 1/8. The reason I was able to do 15 is because I know that there are 3 groups of 1/8 in 3/8, and I'm multiplying that by the factor 5. So 5 times 3 is 15 times 1/8 equals 15/8. So here I've typed it as a product of a whole number. 15 is my whole number. And I'm just going to underline that. Whoops, maybe not. My whole number, 15, times my unit fraction, 1/8. And I know that that's a unit fraction because it's 1 part of the whole. And my product is 15/8. So now you're going to get a chance to do that and also to draw a model.